Welcome back, my Battle Language buddies. My name is Jesus Enrique Rosas. I'm the Battle Language guy. So we finally know how Harry's memoirs are gonna look like. We have the cover and the title, which has sparked controversy on social media. For myself, I had to ask a friend, J.E. May, if this was the real thing the first time I put my eyes on it, because I couldn't believe he actually called his book this pair, because, well, for those of you who are not aware of this, it's an unofficial nickname of Harry, which being sort of a backup to William, who is the direct heir to the British throne. But I wanted to talk about this in the sense of a book cover, and especially a memoir, sets the tone for what are you going to find out in the story. Sets the tone of the story, effectively. Because the word spare sets a framework that you already know is not going to be much of an inner journey, but more of an outer journey with a bit of self-pity. But let's not get ahead of ourselves, and let's see some examples of really nice titles and covers of memoirs. You can be as direct as Paul Newman with a subtitle, The Extraordinary Life of an Ordinary Man, or be funny like I'm Glad My Mom Died from Jeanette McCurdy. And you can guess by the colors of each one of these memoirs that, well, which is the tone of the story. It was a more sober one in the case of Paul Newman and a funnier one in the case of McCurdy. Two great examples that I'll always mention because are two of my favorite books are Green Lights from Matthew McConaughey, which he looks rather pensive, or When Breath Becomes Air, which, well, the story is a bit sad, but in both cases you opt for very soft tones, very soft colors. Those softer colors inspire more of a reflection, because you can also ramp up the contrast all the way up, like in Kevin Hart's I Can Make This Up, Life Lessons from Kevin Hart, or Betty White's If You Ask Me, and of course you won't. You have this high contrast, and it's going to be much more lively, and you can see it on their facial expressions too. Other non-conventional combinations of title and image could be from Gina Davis dying of politeness, which she's having tea with a bear, and Harvey Fierstein, not Weinstein, Fierstein, Harvey Fierstein, I Was Better Last Night. If you are into Broadway production, well, this is the book to read. But perhaps two of the best examples of setting the tone of the contents of a memoir are from Sharon Stone's The Beauty of Living Twice. And she recalls all the memories behind that stroke that she suffered that almost took her life. And, well, the title is, of course, on point, and the picture with her head between her arms is like being vulnerable as she felt when she had to go through that ordeal. In the case of Michael J. Fox, he has his Lucky Man memoirs about his disease, his Parkinson's disease. He tries to be cheerful about it, all the lessons that he has learned because of that disease. And, well, these two books, especially Michael J. Fox, are not an easy read. If you are prone to being emotional or crying, well, you're gonna cry like a lot. So be warned about this. But they set the tone of what are you going to find inside the book. The title and photograph make sure to set the tone of what are you going to find inside the book. That is the idea. So what exactly do we have in Harry's cover and title? People like Piers Morgan have already outlined that it looks a lot like that autobiography from Andre Agassi, Open, which is a great title, a double entendre from Open as in his tennis life to opening himself to the fact that he was number one of the world despite hating the sport with all his guts. And by the way, it's interesting that they share the same ghostwriter. Not only because he's looking straight into the camera with a neutral expression, and I'm going to explain the expression in a moment, but is looking into the camera. He has this just a shirt, the necklace he's usually wearing, and it's a warm palette, a warm tone. So it's like it's gonna be a warm story. Because the only memoir in the examples that we have seen is Green Lights, that has this warm sepia tone to the black and white photo of McConaughey. But we know that the content is gonna be, well, a bit inflammatory, so maybe they want to soften that punch. That is a loving attack, not that hard, just a loving attack. Also, they use a font that is as plain as possible. Like, Harry is gonna be as plain about the facts as possible, not stretching the truth. No, nothing of the sort. He's gonna be plain about his story. And I wanted to talk about his facial expression here. He has that natural asymmetrical expression. We all have an asymmetrical expression, a bit of asymmetry in our faces. And well, his left eye has a bit of melancholy in it, and I can tell just a bit of a smile in his right lip corner. You know how can we check that up? Do you know how can we confirm that? We check it with two faces made of, both sides of his face, just duplicated and mirrored. The one on the left side of your screen is his right side, that subtle smile duplicated, you know, that you see that subtle smiling expression. And the left side of his face duplicated is more of a melancholy. This is just to show you that little asymmetries on our faces can be unsettling if we have a picture straight to the camera, because we are not used to see people this way. We almost never see Harry this way. We almost never see anyone this way. So that's an explanation why Harry's expression looks unsettling to some point. Now let's talk about the title, the name Spare itself. It has no subtitle. It's just that. We don't have any other confirmation that is gonna be beyond a title. There's no subtitle to add an angle to Harry's Spare story. So let that sink in. He's setting the tone of his whole memoirs, the complete story about being a spare. I mean, I can understand that at some point it was bothersome to think about, well, I'm just a backup for William in case something happens to him, then I will be the one in the direct line of succession. And I wanted to give Harry the benefit of the doubt when I saw those remarks in a book published not long ago. Prince Harry thought he would be irrelevant once Prince George turned 18 and compared himself to Prince Andrew, new book claims. I mean, if you were planning about living as a working royal, not being a working royal for so long ago, why do you care of, I don't know, going down in that line of succession? If that is meaningless to you, does that worry you that much? Isn't that disturbing that you be worried that your nephew become 18 years old so you become irrelevant? That's why so many people are asking the question if this is a joke or what. Why name your book Despair? Why name your book Spare? Why use the framework of the royal family, of the monarchy, of the line of succession to define you as a person? That's something that you are doing, or maybe Meghan chose the title to keep this professional victimhood that you are trying to, execute. I don't know, maybe. Or maybe it was Harry himself. Who knows? But you saw in all the memoirs that we saw as examples that there was some kind of hope, or at least being inspiring in your content and your delivery, in the expectation. Spare is just making yourself seen in the framework of a firm, of a monarchy that you did not want to be and you left. And still, your memoirs being written along 2 years are gonna be the title that relates you, that connects you to that life that you wanted to live so long ago. That doesn't make sense. That's why so many people, including myself, think that this is a pathetic attempt to self-pity and be a victim and, retell the tale of how you were a spare And you didn't want it either. You don't want it either. You are free, right? You are free now. You know what is sad? That Harry managed to make Finding Freedom look good. I mean, that title is ages better than this. That could have been a title for your memoirs. Why not? So now we know that this is not gonna be about an internal journey or anything. No, it's gonna be blaming others. It's gonna blame the system. He's gonna blame the structure. He's gonna blame everyone around him that treated him as a peer. What did he do about it? Well, we can only guess because, having this title, you know what is he going to focus on. And very good remark from One Dread Pirate on Twitter. We are very thankful his great-grandfather was the spear back in when Edward VIII proved to be problematic in his affiliations. And you remember which affiliations we're talking about. Yes, that didn't come out well. So, that didn't come out well for Edward VIII, but for UK, it was great in the end. You know the rest of the story. I made a contribution to Harry's memoirs, like a piece of art. I think that could be very well received at the MoMA. What do you think? My Battle Language buddies, remember to download my 100 battle language tips right in the description of this video. Much love and bliss.